That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Comic Reviews. I'm Super2 and I don't have a ton to talk about today, so this should be kind of a short video, especially because you already know what I'm going to do with one of the books that's in the thumbnail. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about Doctor Who, the Fourth Doctor, number 2. Year 1. How many more subtitles can I add to that? So this is just okay. I'm enjoying it on some level. They do have a really good voice for Tom Baker's Doctor. That I really do like. God, what was the line? Oh, where's it at? Basically, the guy that the Doctor is with is talking about how he saw a bunch of the different events in ancient Greece unfold and how amazing it was. Like, he saw the Battle of Troy, the fall of Athens, or the rise of Athens. He saw Pythagoras prove that the Earth was round, that the Earth revolved around the sun 1,000 years before Copernicus. And the Doctor goes, Pythagoras, lovely fellow, very good at billiards, all those tricky angle shots, but it wasn't enough for your yeah. I just really like that. Very good at billiards. Of course, Pythagoras would be fantastic at billiards. So they really do write a good Fourth Doctor. There's another scene that I really liked, where he entered this house to go get and save Sarah Jane. And he goes, Sarah Jane, so this is where you've been hiding. What have I told you about wandering off and getting kidnapped, eh? Well, lovely to meet you, but my friend and I really must be off. I believe I promised her something about dropping in on a draconian imperial coronation. She's like, enough of the tomfoolery. And the villain stops him and goes, you know, one day I'm sure that's going to work. I really like that. Just tries to talk his way out of the situation by confusing everybody. Very Bugs Bunny kind of tactic. So I was wrong. The villain is not Medusa. I mean, to have your villain dress in a veil and have stone statues of people like this, it's very clearly hinting to be Medusa. It is not. It is a victim who is slightly exposed to Medusa's gaze and is thus slowly turning into stone. And so she's trying to get Medusa into the real world, away from whatever prison she happens to be in order to convince her to, let her go. Or remove the curse, whatever. Ultimately, this just an okay issue, though. I'm not, in love with it, but there's stuff in it that I like. This splash page is really cool. I really like that one. It's hard for me to talk about art too much on this show because I either have to do weird stuff like dance like I did a couple weeks ago, or I have to try to hold the panels up to the page and show them to you, and, with the glare from the window or whatever light source I use that's not 100%. But ultimately the art in here is just okay. This is a weird thing that I never complain about. The binding and the paper quality choice in this kind of sort of doesn't work together very well, because as I was going through it, the pages were stuck together. Felt like I was reading an old used Playboy, if you catch my meaning. Some of the art on the Doctor looks odd. I think it definitely looks like Tom Baker. But what I think they might have done is just traced still images of Tom Baker and then put him in different situations. His head looks so tiny in that panel compared to the rest of his body. And just the facial expression looks really awkward and out of place. Like they had a hard time finding a good still frame to use. I don't know. I don't really care for that one. So I got kind of just a neutral feeling on this book. The first issue didn't wow me, but I'll keep reading it just because it's Doctor Who, and so far overall I've enjoyed all the Doctor Who I've been reading, except for the one David Tennant arc. So, there you go. It's almost over. This close. Ultimately, I didn't hate this issue. I'm just so ready for it all to be done. The surprise, the big reveal that happens in this issue, I saw coming about halfway through. One thing I will admit, I did like this. Batman's about to take the Batmobile out, and so he has holographic camouflage for it to make it look like other cars. That was a neat idea. I'll give him credit for that. I did like that idea. Don't really care for this Batmobile design. Looks weird. Looks too snake-like. Yeah, I don't know. It's just okay. I'm just glad it's almost done. We're inches away. Yeah, I don't like the scene with the villains. I don't really like the Court of Owls at all. I'm waiting for that to be over. I hope to God no one uses them after this. Once again, slap in the face of the Joker. Yeah, I just don't like this. It's almost done. Even if the next writer of Batman sucks, I will enjoy it more than this. Alright, now for the big thing this week, and I'll just give him a quick clap. So when you saw this in the title card, or the thumbnail for the video, you probably thought I, as a Green Lantern fan that started picking up the book when started picking up the characters' books because of John's run, you might think, oh, well, of course he'll hate that. So maybe it would seem obvious what I'm going to say about the book. But it is not. This needs to be reprinted again. We are in desperate need of this in the Green Lantern community for people reading the Green Lantern stuff. Because everything that Johns does is dependent on Emerald Twilight. And while I understand why people didn't like the events of Emerald Twilight, while I understand that they found it an insult to the character of Hal Jordan, I agree. If that had been where he was left, which, I mean, for a long time he was, that would be incredibly problematic. But, importantly, it was not, and we've moved on from this, and Hal Jordan has gone on to be bigger and better because of it. Now we need to go back to this with fresh eyes and really see how it did on its own. And so if you put away feelings about Hal Jordan can't be portrayed in that manner, this is damn good. If you're just willing to accept that you can portray Hal Jordan as breaking, as giving up hope and succumbing to fear, this really works. I'll just read the I don't know what you'd call this, the foreword, I suppose. Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. And there came an emerald dawn. Hal Jordan was born and raised in Coast City. There he worked as a test pilot, met his girlfriend, his parents were buried there. When a dying alien gave Hal a power ring, he became part of the Green Lantern Corps, created by the Guardians of the Universe. Coast City had Green Lantern, just as Metropolis had Superman and Gotham City had Batman. Hal was the best, always following orders, and he often led the Corps in his interplanetary quest to combat evil, even against Sinestro, a rogue Green Lantern. Sometimes Hal disagreed with the Guardians, but he always believed they had the greater good in mind. But there is a limit beyond which no man can be pushed. An alien conqueror named Mongol mercilessly destroyed Coast City and its 7 million inhabitants. Hal defeated Mongol, but that could not bring back Coast City. That could not bring back the place where Hal Jordan had lived and worked and loved. And there came an emerald twilight. I know people hate this, but that's a really powerful moment. This all has really powerful stuff. I love the narration more than anything else. Like the situation, the plot of it works really well, but the narration is what gets me. This is Hal Jordan. He's a Green Lantern. Maybe the best Green Lantern. This is a hole in the ground. It's 12 miles in diameter, roughly. It's a very big hole, but not even close to the size of the hole in Hal Jordan's life. Not by far. You see, this hole used to be Coast City, home to a great deal Hal Jordan held dear. This is the place Hal Jordan grew up, where he worshipped at the shrine called Father, where he first knew love. This was the place he started to become the man he is. But that's all gone now, expunged by a madman's dream of conquest. And all that's left is, well, a hole. Some time ago, a man dropped from the stars. He was dying. His last act was to bequeath Hal Jordan a wondrous ring. The power of the ring knows few strictures. Truly it is bounded only by the will of the bearer. With such a ring, you could do anything. If you wanted to badly enough. And so Hal recreates Coast City from the ground up, all in construct. It would be tempting, wouldn't it? All it would take really is the will. Oh, certainly every last vestige of willpower that could be summoned. But it would be tempting. Think of it. The power to resurrect that which no longer exists, or create that which can only exist in the mind's eye. All of it perfect in every detail. The power to make the dead live again, to redress any wrong, to rewrite history with a happy ending. The power to be a god. And as Hal finally gets to interact with his father again and gets to, see the people of Coast City again as he begins to heal, it's all taken away from him. And the Guardians tell him that he's overreached his bounds and has used the ring for selfish purposes. And that he's got to go to Oa for disciplinary action. Discussion was not invited. Surrender your ring 2814 and prepare for transport to Oa. I want more power, Hal says as he punches the Guardian's construct in the face. And I can get some by drawing it from your projection. I'll come back to Oa all right. But you're not going to like me when I get there. Some time ago, a man dropped from the stars. He was dying. His last act was to bequeath Hal Jordan a wondrous ring. The power of the ring knows few strictures. Truly it is bounded only by the will of the bearer. With such a ring you could do anything, if you wanted to badly enough. And then Hal begins his journey to Oa and decimates Green Lanterns all along the way. Cuts off Boudica's arm, gets more and more brutal every step of the way, until he's confronted by Sinestro on Oa. And he's able to defeat Sinestro barehanded, basically. Snaps the dude's neck. And then goes and claims the power battery on Oa, the central battery, for himself. And it's seriously, the stuff in Coast City in the first issue is just so good to me that I buy it. If you lost everything in an instant and there was nothing you could do to stop it, nothing you could do to bring it back or save it, how wouldn't you lose yourself in that? And everything you honestly believed everything you needed to make it better was right there in the palm of your hand, literally. That's really, really impactful for me. We've all experienced a loss that we wish we could take back somehow. We've all lost something and we wish we just had the ability to make that go away and to bring that part of ourselves back into our life, whether it's, a loved one dying or a missed opportunity. And to see something that devastating happen to Hal Jordan, and for him to break under that pressure and really lose himself in the power, I really sympathize with him. I think it is one of certainly the most disturbing, but one of the most complicated and intriguing stories we've ever done with the character, as he becomes Parallax. And that all goes into 0 Hour, which I will be finally reviewing. And we also get the Kyle Rayner origin set up here. 9 Inch Nails shirt. Yeah. I don't know. I really, really like this story. I understand that people were upset by it. And if that had been where Hal Jordan was left, I would agree. But we got so much good out of it. And it's so well done on its own. I can't hold it against it. Everyone in the world hates this book because it's this huge insult to the character, and it's considered one of the worst moments in the DC universe. I disagree. I think it is amazingly well written. Admittedly, it didn't have much foresight, but it's comic books. Someone will always pick up a thread and find a way to make it work. And that's what happened here. And I really love this story. I mean, it's that thick. So, this is gonna sound weird. My only complaint: this should have been the cover they went with Hal holding all the different rings on both hands. I like that cover a lot more than this one. Though, I don't know. The face is a little weird. Yeah. Yeah. So take it however you would like. If you're thinking about getting into Green Lantern, Tires and the Alan Moore stuff, Secret Origin, Emerald Twilight, because it is important. It builds into everything else that happens in John's run. I cannot, in good conscience, tell someone who really wants to get into and understand the character not to read that. That's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Comic Reviews. I'll be back next week with the true beginning of John's run, which is Green Lantern Rebirth. Or no, I take that back. I'll be back next week with 0 Hour, which I'd been promising to do for a couple weeks. Then I didn't have the motivation to get into, and now I'm in the mood again. So I hope you will stay tuned for that. If you have any suggestions for single issues that you would like me to pick up, please leave those in the comments below. Or if you have any suggestions for trades or graphic novels for me to pick up, or if you'd like to send me one, please get in touch with me, leave a comment, we'll figure something out. Bye!